Stock market recap. Today is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. So Tesla had a good day. We wanted to see what direction Tesla went. And the bulls are going to like that there was some good momentum, that they finally cleared a resistance level, which it kept bonking off of. And it held above the VWAP today, which was really good for Tesla. So that's a good sign, okay? Also, if you're wondering about Novo Nordisk and hims and hers, all that, I put out some videos earlier, okay? But Novo Nordisk stock actually went down with, hims and hers, which is interesting. I think that's a buying opportunity with Novo Nordisk now that it's under $70 a share, because I think they're going to find a distributor, no problem still. If it isn't through hims and hers, they can go, with Amazon or whoever else, okay? And so that's going to be good. I think Novo Nordisk is a buy under 70, okay, for the long term, because the weight loss boom is just getting started. And yes, there's, people worrying about competition and all that, but they're eventually going to come out of this. Novo Nordisk is just too cheap to ignore right now, being the second. Obviously Eli Lilly is a great company. They're number one. And then they got the Alzheimer's, but Novo Nordisk is right there at number two. I think they'll be all right. And this will end up being a good price. This is like half of the price it used to be. So 50% discount. One day, I think it'll return to all-time highs. Okay. So hims and hers, though, may take a hit for a while, guys. Okay. This rallied huge off of that collaboration news with, Novo Nordisk. So don't be surprised if this stock does go back in the 30s, guys. That is possible. And that's why I say dollar cost average very slowly if you're going to be in this long term. Obviously, we're getting a much better price than it was at, but we have to let the dust settle, right? You could get an even better price. So again, that's why I always say slowly dollar cost average. And then the other option, if you don't want to own it long term, if you don't believe in the company long term, to day trade it and playing it off of oversold levels, which there were a few opportunities today. If you played it when RSI went under 30 oversold, and you played it quickly, you could make some money. You guys know I played it one time from 44 to the 45s and got out of the way. Okay, and then it rolled back over. So that's why it's got to be, I like the in and out trades quickly with my short-term trading account, okay, which you guys know I've talked about. So anyways, that's what's going on there. I do believe Novo Nordisk could be an opportunity. I don't think that should have gone down as much. Even Eli Lilly went down on the news. So that one's back into a buy area. If you believe in the weight loss drug space, I do, guys, okay? This just started. And we're going to be talking about this a decade from now. I can see looking back saying, I can't believe I didn't buy. This is the hottest thing, obviously. So many people are obese, okay, especially in America, probably because the FDA lets everything go through, right? But they're starting hopefully to get stricter with all that. But that's why these, obesity drugs, these weight loss drugs are going to be huge, guys. So don't ever lose sight of the big picture, all right? So anyways, that's that. And then I wanted to talk about Circle Internet Group, guys. This stock just keeps on going higher. Remember, this is the one I told you about after their IPO. It IPO'd at 31, went to a high of 298, guys. So we're talking almost a 10-bagger. And I told you about this when it was in the lower 100s that I was playing it. And I've played this probably about 5 times now, where I just, get in on a dip, ride the momentum up, sell, and then do the same thing, okay? Really hasn't been too many dips with this name, okay? But this is one you want to be careful with, guys, because I want to explain a little bit about what this company does and when you need to be careful. So first, what this company does, they're involved with stable coins. And if you're wondering what's that, this is tied to USDC. So Circle Internet Group is through USDC. This is the stable coin that's number 2 in market cap behind Tether, okay? So they obviously want to be number 1. But what stable coins are used for are cross-border payments. So with financial institutions, this is becoming bigger and bigger. And the whole reason the stock is launching higher too is because of the Genius Act, that bill that passed the Senate. So there's going to be more regulatory framework around stable coins. So we're going to see more of these hit the market most likely. Like Amazon could have a stable coin, many other companies. I'm excited for, when there's an XRP stable coin, and when Ripple has their IPO, I'll be ready. I'll let you know when I hear about that, guys, because I think that's going to be big, like Circle as well, okay? But Circle Internet Group, so they make their money by so it's backed by USDC, okay, the stable coin, and they make their money through putting the money that we put into short-term treasuries. So we obviously know they're paying pretty decent right now. Now, the time to be careful is when interest rates go down, because then the amount of revenue they bring in is going to go down a little bit, okay? So that will affect their numbers, but we know that's not going to happen anytime soon, maybe fall at the earliest. So this stock could continue to be hot, but I would still use the stop loss, guys. keep it tight, and you can always look to re-enter lower. That's how I do it. And keep the position size a little smaller now that the stock has rallied so big, okay? So they get money from short-term treasuries. They also, from trading fees. There's also software revenue that they're saying that could grow. And right now they're going, it's like 60% revenue growth, and that they're profitable. So that's why this stock is hot right now, okay? Institutions, are buying it too. A lot of people, like to prefer to buy a stock versus crypto too, okay? Consider it safer. So that's a reason as well. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's why this stock, has been very hot, is because stable coins are in focus after the bill being passed, and more, companies are going to go that route most likely. So it's hitting mainstream potentially here, guys. So don't sleep on stable coins. And like I said, the next one, Ripple, when they have their IPO, that's going to be huge. I think it's only a matter of time before XRP, has a stable coin. So anyways, next on the list is the cloud software names. So you remember CLOU, I've talked to you about this one in the past. This ETF, I've also talked to you about IGV, okay? So I noticed that this is outperforming the semiconductor sector, or the SOX, SOXX, which the semiconductors were outperforming for a while, and now the cloud name CLOU just took over, outperforming now. So some names in this sector, we know cybersecurity, guys. With war, cybersecurity is more in focus. CrowdStrike is crushing it still. I'm not saying to go out and buy that one. It's obviously pretty much at all-time highs. There's also Microsoft, which just hit all-time highs again today, okay? The one I like right now actually is Fortinet, FTNT, because this hasn't gone up as much as some of the other ones, and it's actually reasonable with the valuation. Another one I like is Okta, for example, OKTA. That one's actually one of the most undervalued, in my opinion, in the cybersecurity space. So those have been doing well, okay? I also like Elastic, ESTC, that's involved with that. So that sector is outperforming right now, so you can look at, some of those names, for example. I think semiconductors long-term, I believe semiconductors are the new oil, and I believe they're going to be just fine, okay? But right now they're kind of taking a break after they've had a nice rally, okay? And we'll see what happens, with, Saudi Arabia. Obviously, we know that Iran hit some U.S. sites in Qatar, it sounds like, or tried to. No one was killed or anything, which is great because we don't want this to escalate. But anyways, Qatar, is obviously doing business with the U.S. They're talking about, we did some deals like Boeing, for example, and, some chips, being used in Qatar. So if this spreads to, like Saudi Arabia and other places, that could delay things, right? But I don't know. I don't think it would go that far, but you never know. So something to monitor, but I just want to let you know that I saw that outperformance with the charts, that the AI cloud names, are starting to outperform, so you can look in that space. So it's good to see Tesla catching a lift today. And then also Circle Internet Group, because of stable coins being in focus and hot right now. And then also, like I said, Novo Nordisk could be an opportunity, NVO, in the weight loss drug space if you like that. Again, holding long term, because if you look at their valuation, very cheap, okay? For example, like Ford PE and all that. And then, like I said, the AI cloud software names, you can also look at those guys. Have a great night.